democracy supporters is that actually more people came into the square, first-timers, newcomers, civil servants, clearly showing that they do belong, for example, to the National Gas Company, that they do belong to the syndicates, lawyer syndicates rather in Suez, or the teacher syndicates in Ismailia. So certainly people who had never been here for the past 15 days made their way to Liberation Square to join these protests. That is something that are making the organizers, if you want, we may call them like that, very upbeat that the momentum, at least at the moment, seems to be picking up again.
And what is extraordinary in that sense is that these teachers, government workers, civil servants are actually in the pay of the government.
Absolutely, and they were actually granted a 15% salary increase just yesterday. That didn't change anything. And this morning, Egypt woke up to the news, Vice President Omar Suleiman announcing that the president had signed, had given in to one more demand by signing a presidential decree which would allow for constitutional amendment. That didn't do anything. People did continue pouring into the square. And the fact that the announcement was made so early in the morning made many wonder if it was a way to sort of reverse the momentum that was about to pick up here in Liberation Square. But then when you ask the people, is that enough? They say no, because who is going to do this? Who are going to do these constitutional amendments? The parliament. We don't recognize this parliament because they say that the elections last November were completely rigged and gave an absolute majority to the ruling National Democratic Party.
Is there not a sense that what the president decrees today, he could undecree next week or next month if he wanted?
Well, as long as he is the president, he can do what he wants. So I think what they need to see is that certain steps that actually curtail, chip away this absolute power that he has at the moment. And not only him, the National Democratic Party also has a considerable amount of power, and the security forces have a limitless power. They can do what they want. They can detain who they want, they can question who they want, they can torture who they want, and they're accountable to nobody. So I think before you see people questioning whether it's time to go home or not, they want to see that all these powers have been curtailed considerably and are put under the careful watch of someone external to all that who can sort of monitor if there's any sort of exactions going on.
Thanks, Hoda. Well, all of these protests have so far lacked any single leader, but one man has emerged as a hero for many of those on the square, and his name is Wael Ghunem. He's a Google executive whose use of social networking sites inspired thousands to take to the streets. He was freed on Monday after being detained for 12 days. Al Jazeera's Imran Khan has his story.
January 27th, and a man is hauled away by what seemed to be security services. There's no way of confirming these pictures uploaded onto the internet, but they mark a moment Egypt's leaderless revolution found a hero. Wael Ghunem is a marketing manager for the internet search engine Google. His arrest sparked a campaign across the internet. Before his incarceration, he used social media sites to encourage and inform Egypt's pro-democracy protesters. For many, he was a digital icon. But then he simply disappeared into cyberspace. A prolific blogger, his writing just went offline. For 12 days, as Egypt roared with demonstrations, his friends, family and followers mounted an internet campaign with one simple message: "Where's Wael?" Then, on the 7th of February, he was released. Egyptian state TV, realizing his role and the huge internet campaign to get him released, made a big deal.
First of all, I send my condolences to all the people who were killed. It was a peaceful revolution. We didn't want to do any damage. Don't focus your cameras on me. I'm not a hero. The real heroes are the youth who are behind this revolution. By God's will, we're going to clean this country of this rubbish.
His words, once on the air, echoed through cyberspace. The news of his release welcomed by many. From Cairo, this man, using the microblogging site Twitter, said, "Welcome back, Wael." Even the US State Department spokesman PJ Crowley welcomed the news. Having been released in Egypt today, it's good to see Ghunem back online. Ghanem's experience encapsulates the nature of these protests, led by the people but driven by technology, a technology that seems to have caught the government off guard. Imran Khan, Al Jazeera.
Well, let's talk now to a man who was in the Egyptian parliament. On the line from Paris is Mustafa El Gindi, members of the opposition Wafd party. I gather that you're on your way, Mr. El Gindi, back to Cairo. What do you plan to do when you get there?
Go to the square, go to the people in the square and talk to them and try to present for them what my point of view of Egypt after Mubarak. How can we see a prime minister, a young prime minister of 30, 35 years old, like in England, like any other country? How can Egypt after Mubarak can be? And what I'm presenting is a parliamentary republic where we can have a strong army, but we can have a voting and a prime minister who come after a parliamentary election. That's what we would love to see Egypt, like Turkey, like Malaysia, even Israel is running this way. We should share the power, and I think this is the question coming now on the field. Are we going to give up to Mubarak the presidency to another man of the army? Is the army going to leave power like that, or is there a deal that we have to do together? The young people who represent 70% of the nation and the army of the nation. And I think what can be acceptable, and that's what I will propose to everybody, is
it's day 15 of the protests. How long is that going to take to realize the dream that you've just explained?
I'm going to stay there. I'm going to talk with them. I'm going to stay as long as they are there. I will be there. I think there is no other place to be except in Tahrir or in Mansoura, where I come from, where today...
But how long before you get that kind of democracy that you've just spoken of? How long before those on the streets get what they want?
If they start slogan and if they start screaming from the square saying that we wanted parliamentary, like our brother in Turkey, if they can understand that and if they start asking, maybe this can be the introduction. Because the problem is there is no leader of the square. Everybody wants Mubarak out. Okay, Mubarak is going out. He's leaving within days or weeks. He's leaving. But what do these young people see for Egypt? Do they want to change only Mubarak, or do they want to change a republic where we have a prime minister elected by the people and the president and a strong army, like Turkey? And I think this is what we should think of.
See yourself as the leader that is missing at the moment?
No, I see myself as an Egyptian who have 4 daughters who are between 25 years and 13 years, and I wish that I can see Egypt like Turkey or like Malaysia or like England. I wish I can see my daughters at the age of 35, 39, one of them become a prime minister like any other country, and I don't want to see a ministry where the answer of Mubarak to these young people. I will change the ministry, and the youngest guy in the ministry is 65.
But the problem is that nobody that we've spoken to has so far been able to say how this is going to happen. They've often said what they want, but not how it's going to happen.
You go to the square and you stay with the people and you talk to the people and you explain to the people, and if the people hear it and understand it, maybe it will happen. Anyway, if anybody listens to it, you're a young man, you're protesting, you're throwing the president away, you want a better future for Egypt, are you going to bring another pharaoh, or are you going to leave the whole power in the hand of the army, or are we going to share it? I think we are going to share it. How can we share it? There is another system? No, there is one system. Sharing it is a prime minister with power and a president with the power, because we should not forget that Egypt does not concern only Egypt. The model in Egypt will be applied all over in Africa, in Asia, in the third world. A lot of countries are looking what's happening in Egypt. And
appreciate your time. Mr. El Gindi, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Now, in just a moment on this programme, a man who's wanted for questioning over alleged sex offences in Sweden. Julian Assange's lawyers trying to have the extradition order thrown out of court. We'll have the latest on the WikiLeaks founder live from London in just a moment. And the Chechen rebel leader who says he was behind the bombing of Moscow's busiest airport.
As a slight chill spreads across Melbourne, we'll find a way to perk you up.
Hello once again, welcome to another look at the international forecast. We've got some cloud on our forecast across parts of the Arabian Peninsula.